Hi class. So what I'd like to do in this video is review some terms that you've already learned in class. These are terms that when you go on to the next level that you really need to understand. And the terms that we're going to go over in this video are inference, comprehension, summary, response, excuse me, theme, and figurative language. Okay, so let's start with comprehension. So there are on oftentimes worksheets comprehension questions, and what those questions ask you basically to do is to find the answer directly in the text. It could be something like, what country did Vargas immigrate from? The Philippines. That's something that you can find directly in the text. That is comprehension. The next term that I'm going to talk about is inference. So on worksheets, there's often also inference questions, and for these questions, you need to read between the lines. It's not going to come directly from the text. It's something that you have to read and think about and make an inference. I remember earlier in the beginning of the year, I gave you guys an example. If I say, oh, it's really hot in here, I'm not asking someone directly to open a window, but maybe I'm inferring it. So that's an example of reading between the lines or making an inference in real life. The next term that I would like to go over is summary. So this is something that we've done a lot during class, and it's a really important skill to be able to have, to be able to summarize. So as I'm sure you know, with the summaries, we just want the main ideas of what the chapter or the book or the article is about. So you could have a summary of a chapter, you could summarize the main ideas of a paragraph, you could summarize the main ideas of an entire book. Okay, and in the summary, make sure that you do not include details, okay? And also, you do not and you never should include your opinion in a summary. So I could ask you, what's a summary of the first chapter of Dear America? And you would say, a man named, well, actually, a boy named Jose Antonio Vargas came to America on an airplane from the Philippines with his mother. It's short and it's just the main ideas. Okay, so the next term that we'll go over is response. So response is something that you are asked to do. You're asked to respond would be the verb. And in a response, you should include your opinion. So if I asked you to respond to maybe a particular quote in chapter 1, Vargas says, I come from a country of gamblers. So in that response, first you would describe, what does Vargas mean by him coming from a country of gamblers? I mean, you would say something about, a family of gamblers. You would say that his family made a really big gamble by bringing him to the United States and just starting over. They didn't know what would happen, so that's a really big risk. And then you could talk about your opinion of that in a response. You could say, like, I agree that that's an important risk that people need to take because for all of these reasons. Or you could connect to your own life and say something about, when I immigrated to the United States, I was taking a huge gamble, and then give details about that experience and go deep into that experience and connect that with Vargas's journey as well. That's a response. Okay. Now we're going to talk about theme. This is one that's a little bit harder, I think, for some of you. So in a theme, remember that a theme is not what happens in the story, but what it means, okay? So in this, we really have to dig deeper. We have to infer what the theme is. Usually books are not going to come out and say it, okay? A theme is a universal statement that can apply to a wide group of people. So we never use a character in the book or a person's name in the theme. So you would never say, the theme of this book is that Vargas is undocumented. That's not a theme, it's more part of a summary. So instead, a theme would be something like we would never say Jose Antonio Vargas. So a theme would be something like undocumented people living in America have a psychological, emotional, and cultural feeling of homelessness. That is a theme of the book. A theme of Dear America is that undocumented people have a psychological, emotional, and cultural feeling of homelessness. So that would be a statement of a theme. I don't mention Vargas's name in that theme, and in that theme, I've kind of inferred that theme from reading the whole book and thinking about how Vargas doesn't feel like he really has a place where he belongs. He doesn't feel like he psychologically can really rest in himself. He feels like he doesn't know himself. He feels like he can't settle. He can't get close to people because he's afraid that he might be deported at any moment. He can't get close to people because he feels like he doesn't even know himself, because he's had to lie so much of his life in order to just be able to live in America. And those lies have separated him from his own identity, his own sense of self. Theme. Okay, so the last term that I'm going to go over in this video is figurative language. So figurative language is language that is not literal, and usually it compares two things. So figurative language, let me get an example. Just hold on really quick. Okay, so I found us an example of figurative language on page, let's see here, 116. It's the beginning of chapter 16. Of It's Coming Out, that's the chapter. So this is figurative language. About coming out, which I've done twice in my life, it's less about coming out and more about letting people in. I learned that you come out to let people in. The reality is, the closet doesn't only hide you from strangers, the closet also hides you from the people you love. So the real part of the figurative language here is the closet also hides you from the people you love. So Vargas, is he literally in a closet? I have a closet behind me. Is he inside there? No, he's not. What he's using is he's using figurative language that compares hiding emotionally from the people you love to being in a closet and hiding. So it helps increase our understanding of what Vargas was emotionally and psychologically going through, having to hide, being undocumented from other people. He felt like he was in a closet. So that's figurative language. It represents Vargas's fear of showing his true self to people. And he's saying not only does hiding in this metaphorical closet hide it from the people that he needs to be protected from, it also hides himself from the people that he wants to be close to. Okay, so this concludes our video. Hope you're doing well.